Check my levels.
Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2.
Side B Radio, who's this?
Yo, can I hear that new Tekashi joint?
Hey, yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your man, Mikey D of the legendary Main Source and LA Posse. And right now, you are tuned in to Side B TV with my man, Phil Jackson.
Hey, what's going on? This is Phil Jackson, host of Side B TV, being brought to you on Channel Zero Network. That is Chuck D's official YouTube page, and I'm going to be on every Friday, 9 p.m. sharp. Shout out to C-Doc for making that happen. Real quick about me before we get into the next episode. Shout out to Phantom of the Beat. That was the very first episode, and it's up right now. It's still up, and, you know, I just want to thank Phantom of the Beat for coming on. He was just breaking down his whole history in hip hop and the culture and, you know, what he's doing now. And, you know, and he's going to have more stuff in the near future. So, you know, be on the lookout for him. Hit him up on his Facebook page, his Instagram page. Everything comes up Phantom of the Beat. You're going to find everything. And about me, Sabi Radio every Sunday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on 105.1 The Beat. That's in Atlantic City, where I play underground hip hop music for 1 hour. So I try to fit everything in 1 hour, but, you know, I've been getting a great response from the listeners. I've been getting a great response from the artists. And if artists out there, if you feel as though that you can be played on Sabi Radio, hit me up, sabiradio42@gmail.com. Edited music only with the bio. Shout out to all the artists that actually sent me music now, because my email has been flooded with great music, and I'm still going through it. And once I review the music, I'm gonna hit you back, and maybe I'll play you on the air. Then possibly I could have an interview with you on the air or on Sabi TV. Either way, you know, I'm just trying to push the culture forward. Hit me up on Instagram at Sabi Radio. Everything right there about the radio station, about the podcast, about everything. You know, I mean, everything is right there. So, you know, I try to post daily. So, and I try to give out as much information about the radio station as possible and supporting good artists too. But before I get into the next episode, I want to give a rest in peace to Power from Wu-Tang. Very instrumental in the clan. He made everything work. You know, very, very positive brother. I had a chance to befriend him. I wasn't a good friend of his, but, you know, we became friends and we talked periodically. And every time I talk to him, it's nothing but positivity. I'm gonna give you some stories, and I'm gonna have some people on the podcast that actually knew Power. And I know I have a couple of stories that, you know, me and him, you know, we talked about some things. And, you know, like when I heard the news, man, I'm still shocked, because, you know, I'm not gonna get into it. That will be the next episode. But, you know, rest in peace to Power. My condolences go out to his family. You know, it's just a sad day in the culture, man, because, you know, he was the culture. I mean, he did everything. The clothing line, the music, he was acting. I mean, you know, this guy took advantage of all his opportunities and he was truly blessed, and he's going to be missed, man. But the next episode, episode 2, is with my man Mikey D, and he's going to be talking about his new project, Pop and Kim Legends Don't Die, and he's just going to break down his history of how he got started, who influenced him, some of his greatest feats in his hip hop career, where it's taking him now. Now, I want you guys to be clear. This was half recorded, pre-recorded. So there's going to be some stuff that you're going to be, well, wait a minute, Phil, like, what are you talking about? That already happened. So I'm going to break it down for you. Number one, we did mention MC Search, his little situation with MC Search. But apparently, no, not apparently, they did. They made up, here's the pictures. It's 2 pictures. Yeah, they're at an event, they're talking, and they hug it out. So, that's one thing. And the second thing, if you listen to the interview, I said, hey, when I see you, I'm going to shake your hand. Here's the second picture. We already did the event. It was his album release party. I did a interview with him. It was super dope. I mean, look, man, you got to go out and support this guy because he's been doing it for hip hop for so long. And it was just a true honor to sit down and talk with this guy. So without further ado, here is episode number 2, Side B TV with Mikey D. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll talk to you again next week. My next guest, he is not just a New York City legend. He's not just a Queens legend. He is a hip hop cultural legend. And I have my man Mikey D on because he's going to talk about his new album. What's good, man?
Hey, I'm here, baby. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, no, thank you.
New Year.
Happy New Year to you, brother.
Let's start with that one. Word.
Hey, look, man, real quick, thank you for all what you've done for hip hop, man, because, you helped a lot of people out. You won a lot of classic records. You're a classic guy. Actually, real quick before we start, I saw you at the Moni Love listening party, and I wanted to come up and shake your hand, but everybody gravitated towards you. And and Moni Love told a beautiful story of you, Will Smith, and her, and we're gonna talk about that too. But my man Mikey D, man, what's good, man? I mean, you're a legend. Shout out to Rob Schwartz, man. He put me down with you. We're playing your new album. It's in rotation on 105.1 The Beat. Side B Radio is stamped and approved for my show. But
thank you.
Tell me how you started out in Queens, man, because you're a Queens legend, and I just saw Ed Lover do a mini interview, and they were talking about Queens legends, and he said, "Yo, man, you got to mention Mikey D, man. He's one of the illest dudes that was out, and he's still one of the illest dudes." So, tell me how you began in Queens, man.
Man, it started. It's a long journey, man. You're gonna have me dating myself now, but it's all good. I'm proud of my age, I'm still here, alive and well. But I started on the steps right next door to my grandmother's house, 1979. My boy D Money, excuse me, D Money had a cassette tape of the Cold Crush Brothers. And he stole the tape from his big brother and brought it outside on the boom box radio. We all sitting on the steps. I'm like 12 going on 13. And I heard Grandmaster Caz just spitting these rhymes that I could see. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't know what hip hop was at the time, but I wanted to do it once I heard Grandmaster Caz, man. So after hearing that Cold Crush tape, I went next door and I wrote my very first rhyme, emulating what I heard Grandmaster Caz do. I think he did a rhyme, Yvette. And I went home and I wrote a rhyme called Kim. The next day, I came outside and let my boys that was on the step hear the rhyme. And they was like, yo, that's fire. And it started from right there. Grandmaster Caz, hands down. And then Mo D, you know what I'm saying? It was like, I'm from that cloth. I'm a student of them guys. So coming from Queens and the block that I was on, you know, a little quiet neighborhood at the time, we wasn't up on hip hop. We was little dudes, you know, but once I heard that tape, it was off to the races, man. I never looked back, bro. So that's how it started, man.
So, you know, it started back then, but like, when did it really start picking up steam for Mikey D? And when did you start becoming not just a household name, but a New York City name?
Almost immediately, to be honest with you,
Okay.
because we started making these tapes and we was consistent. It was like it was a nonstop grind. We just kept with it. And me and Johnny Quest and me, we did this cassette tape at one of our boys' house. His name was Mellow Goo. He was a part of a real popular group in Laurelton at the time called Rappomatical 5 with Chucky Chuck and all of them. But he had
Okay.
a little tiny 4-track recording studio upstairs in his room in Laurelton. And we made this tape called Here's Johnny. So it's me rapping a simple, I think the name of the drum machine at the time was an Eli or something like that. It was a black and gray drum machine. But we did this joint called Here's Johnny. So Here's Johnny, that cassette made its rounds all throughout Queens. Like, it took off for some reason. It was like a hit record, but it was only a cassette. So after that, you know, it was off to the races again. And then I got hip to Kumo D and the battles that, you know, with him and Busy B. So that kind of sparked that battle energy in me. You know what I mean? That's when I started becoming real competitive. So then it wasn't just about being a good rapper. It was about being the best rapper. And I was just hungry. And I started battling other cats on the block. You know, we was moving from block to block, and then we was going from borough to borough. I was cocky with it, you know. And this is before I started drinking Old English. Once I started drinking the Old English, it brought some more courage out of me, man.
Right.
And I never looked back. So I was really competitive. I was super duper young. I was about maybe 75 pounds, 80 pounds at the time, but I had a voice of a monster. You know what I mean? And that was that. My name started ringing bells, and it's like I started bumping heads with the right people who would later on become something in this industry. And I was bumping into these cats early, like the G Raps and the LLs. You know, we was bumping heads early before records, you know. Let me just put this on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, okay.
All right, there we go. So yeah, that was that. Just battling everywhere, on the train, on the bus. You know, we got tired of being on the block, so we would go to other neighborhoods, Corona, we would go to Flushing. It didn't matter. Anywhere there was a cipher, I wanted to be in that cipher. School, I was battling in the lunchroom. I was battling in the parks. I was battling in the hallways. I was battling in front of the school. It was just, I never looked back. That's just what I was doing, man. And it was fun.
And you signed your first record deal in 1985 with the group Symbolic 3, correct?
Actually, the first record I did was with the Clientele Brothers. Before that, this was when Jesse Jackson first ran for president. We had a song out called Jesse, You're Number One. We were signed to Nia Records. The Twins signed us, the Aleems. Remember, they had that record, Be Yours and Mine. They signed us to a group, and we had Jesse, You're Number One. And then after that, I went solo. And then I ran into a girl, and she happened to rap and all of that, and had a group called the Symbolic 4. And one of the girls she was a bad, so she wound up going to like a little reform school, you know what I mean? And then it was only 3 of them. So I started writing for them, and that's how that went down. So
Okay.
yeah, the Symbolic 3 one of the joints too.
So talking about writing, so you were writing for other people at that time, which was I don't know if it was the normal, but like, so how was that, like, writing for other people and then you hearing them reciting your rhymes and actually them becoming, known for? So how did that make you feel?
It was dope. But it was normal because I wrote so much that half of the rhymes that they said were rhymes that I had already that I just forgot. And
Mm.
when we got signed with Symbolic 3, it was because back in those days I was also doing parodies. So let's say somebody came out with a hit record. For instance, the first parody that I did was off of It's Yours. I did a
Okay.
parody called Your Drawers. Big success all over the streets. Then Houdini came out with Big Mouth. I came out with a parody called Big Head. Another big success on tapes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Our manager at the time, Arthur Armstrong, he was close friends with Jerry Bloodrock of Reality Records. Reality Records had just put out Dougie Fresh's The Show.
Mhm.
They knew that somebody would try to come up with an answer song for that song because when we got signed, that's when people were doing the answer tracks and all of that.
Dance track.
I was already a king of parody. So they thought it would be a good idea to have some girls answer The Show. So that's how we came with No Show. And we were on the same exact label. You know what I mean? And that's how that went down.
Now, did that create any conflict between you and Dougie Fresh?
Absolutely. It wasn't it wasn't a real conflict. I think Slick Rick didn't take too kindly from it. You know, he wasn't too excited about it, more so than Dougie Fresh. But what actually wound up happening is Dougie Fresh, we bumped into each other and he pulled me to the side and was like, yo, Mikey D, you would be so fresh, pun intended, you would be so fresh if you would just stop dissing people. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because at the time, that's what I was known for. I was known to battle. I was known to be at places calling people out just to battle and be disrespectful because I felt that I was nice and that was just my thing. But he pulled me to the side and was like, yo, if you would just stop dissing people, you would be so fresh, man. And that always stuck with me. So I stopped dissing people and I kind of kept that in my back pocket just in case somebody stepped out of line. It was still in me, you know what I mean? So
That's what's up.
shout out to Dougie Fresh. That's big bro now, man. I love him to death. He love me. We good now, you know.
I'm gonna talk about legends, veteran MCs doing having current albums out now in a few minutes. But do you still have some of those tapes that you were talking about, those legendary tapes?
Like, let me tell you, I just ran across the tape. I actually just sent this tape to, and I'm gonna send it to you just because we family now, all right? But I
Sure.
just ran across the tape with me and my brother LL Cool J from 1984, before either one of us was signed, and we rocking live at a block. I have some CDs still in the vault from Park Jams. I think there was one where me and Kwame, we was going back and forth, you know. There's tapes with me and Mr. Cheeks. Me and Mr. Cheeks never battled or nothing like that. We just from the same hood and very competitive, and we used to be at the same spots, Paisley Park, Southside Jams. I got a tape with us in Redman in Montebello Park and all that. But yeah, man, I got some stuff in the archives, man. Shout out to
So
Tape Master B, who held
out
on
of
to them.
all the battles that you were involved in, what was the most
Yeah,
memorable battle that to date that sticks out to you out of all the battles that you done in your career?
the New Music Seminar 1988, Mikey D versus Melly Mel, the legend. That's the most memorable one. And also, I can also say me and Cool G Rap, only because I got punched in my nose. You know what I mean?
Damn.
I'm battling. He
Cool
didn't
G
hit
Rap
me
push you in the nose?
No, not Cool G Rap. His
Oh.
boy did. You know what I mean? Because yo, I'm battling. Yo, like I told you earlier, we used to go from the town and just battle whoever.
Yeah.
We wound up in Corona this one time with one of my boys. I won't say his name because he did some crab stuff. You know what I mean? But like I said, we would go. If there was a cipher, I wanted to be a part of it. So if there was a crowd of people in front of a store, I would go buy a beer and I'll ask anybody in the crowd, yo, Ryan, who rhyme? I'll battle anybody. That was my thing right there. I'll battle anybody out there. None of them rhymed, but these two brothers was like, yo, we got a dude for you. We're going to take you to our man, Cool G. They didn't call him Cool G Rap. He didn't have records out either at the time. So me and Johnny Quest, we looking at each other because Cool J was down with us. So we thinking Cool J, Cool G, and we like, you know, whatever. Yeah, let's do it. Yo, they walked us to his crib, his mom's crib, actually. And I remember him, he came out the side door. You know, they introduced us and whatever. We started battling. It was more like comparing notes, you know, but we was going for it. It was an edgy battle. It was real close. But the reason I got punched in the nose, because I'm tapping his man when I'm rhyming, like, yo, I'm nice, I told you. And I'm tapping his man. And he's getting a little frustrated because I think he thought his man was gonna just wash me. He thought Cool G Rap was gonna wash me up. And it didn't turn out like that. So, you know, I'm tapping him too much. I'm a little tipsy or whatever. Boom, got clocked in the nose. There's three of them. It was three of us, but my boy that brought us out there started talking about, see, this is why you shouldn't be in other people's neighborhood talking trash. So, yo, they wound up getting mad at him and put him on his back. You know what I mean? And when he got up, they put him on his back again. He got up and took off running. But right after that, Cool G Rap, the brother that socked me in the nose, and the other brother, they walked us to the train station. We've been cool ever since because, you know, it was, you know, I understood where it came from and it was just cool. So ever since then, we've been like this, you know what I mean? But besides that one, Melly Mel was the most memorable because that was like Davey against Goliath, you feel me? And it was at the seminar, you know, I'm a young dude from Queens. This is a legend from the Bronx. This is when Queens and the Bronx was going at each other. I'm from the new school. He's the old school legend that doesn't want to pass the torch, you know. So it was just one of those things. And like, I didn't want to battle him the way that I did because out of respect and me looking up to him, I just wanted to do the demonstration like we were supposed to do. Me showing that I can stand on the same mic with him and we could rock out. But he turned it into the battle, had my back against the wall. So it was like I could not allow him to disrespect me and just make me, you know, have me go out like a sucker. So I did what I did. Mikey D Destruction was born and that was that. So I had to go at the Melly Mel, but we good today too. So that was 88, but we good today.
So okay, so that was 88. So and you won that battle, correct?
Absolutely.
Now how would Melly Mel portray it? Because you know, there's always two sides. Like, did he say that he won or?
This was the thing with Melly Mel. See, Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz thought I was going to be an easy walk in the park. So what these guys did was like we were supposed to be battling for the two belts. Both belts were on the floor. Before I finished rhyming, Grandmaster Caz picks up the belt like it was going to be a walk in the park. But things reversed real quick. Like I got the best of them, but these guys was already walking out with the belts, and it was, you know, it was too embarrassing for them to give me the belts back. You got the whole crowd saying Mikey D won. You got the judges saying Mikey D won, but your ego is scarred. So he's crushing, knocking people out the way, trying to get out of that spot that we were at. And the argument was this, actually, they said that as an MC, Melly Mel won the battle. But because I was using antics like being disrespectful and real funny, like clowning him lyrically, they tried to say that that doesn't count. But this is a battle. This isn't us comparing rhymes to see who has the most educational story. We're not here to teach a class or to preach a sermon. We're here to go to war. So I'm going straight for your neck the best way I know how. I don't give a F what you're preaching, because the first rhyme that I said was a regular rhyme. But he came back at me and said something about my girl's, his cum was on my girl's breath, excuse me, but, you know, was on her breath. So that was a diss. It was a shot. Okay, now I got to fire back. And I did what I do. So they tried to say that, oh, MCs don't do that. You just supposed to say a regular rhyme, not in the battle. No. You're not gonna trick me. This, look, the name of the event was New Music Seminar Battle for World Supremacy. Not comparing notes, not to see whose rhyme structure or whatever is better, but who can destroy who. That's what that was all about. And I showed and proved what I could do. But of course, they're not going to accept it. Oh, who's this nobody from Queens against this big giant, you know? So I changed the whole history of the game with that one, you know?
That's what's up. So,
like I said, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Like I said, we good now. Kaz, like I said, Kaz is the reason I rap today.
Okay.
You know, me and Kaz had conversations after that. He know what it is, and you know, even Raheem will tell you with the quickness what went down. You know, but it's water under the bridge now, man. Lessons learned, and now I know. It taught me how people move, how shady people can be. You know, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that because I know what happened, and the people know what happened, and it's all love today. It's all good.
That's what's up. So, what was more gratifying back then? Winning the World Supremacy rap battle or hearing your music on the radio?
Hearing my music on the radio really didn't faze me too much. That was like hearing my tapes on the street, because my tapes in the street was buzzing more than my radio spins. You know what I mean? Okay. The only thing more gratifying than the New Music Seminar was being on Soul Train with Main Source, man, and meeting Don Cornelius, my mom's hero, and being able to get an autograph for him to give to my mom, and to meet John Witherspoon, and just to rock that Soul Train stage. That was the highlight to me.
So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because we are gonna talk about the Main Source. But what year was that when you went on Soul Train?
That was like 93, 94, somewhere in that area. It might have been 94. Yeah. 94.
Yeah, and you know what? And you know what too? Not to cut you off, bro. You could tell that Soul Train was shifting a little bit, and Don Cornelius really wasn't adjusting to the hip hop groups that were coming on, and as a fan of Soul Train, you could see it that it really wasn't, right. But he knew that was the thing right there. So when you first met Don Cornelius, was that the first reaction that you got?
No, actually, see, unfortunately, when we met Don Cornelius, this is when he was going through a real critical health issue. This is when they were each week they had a different host, and that's why John Witherspoon was the host when we were on it. Who was on there with us? J. Rue the Damager and Michael McDonald. But you know, Don Cornelius was overseeing everything. You know, he was moving a little slower. You know, he had health issues. So, but he was still Don. You know what I mean? He embraced us, but you can tell, you know, he wasn't all there, man. God right. Rest his soul, man. But you know, but it's all good.
No, that's what's up. So I don't even want to, you know, dwell on this so much, but and we can breeze right through this set of questions. But Paul
So, okay,
C,
hey,
man.
listen, I'm an open book. No questions are off the table. So feel
Okay.
free. I'm transparent. So feel free to ask me anything, man. And take
Okay.
your time. I am not in a rush, bro. I got
Okay.
you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. And I appreciate that. Paul C, a lot of people, know of his music, but they don't know him as a person. He was one of the first producers in hip hop. So like tell me, how was it working with Paul C?
Yo, it was crazy because Paul was so cool and so quiet, man. And people, if they don't know, he was a white guy. He was the
Yeah.
first white. He was the first white guy that I met that had so much goddamn soul and so much
Hmm.
rhythm. And also remember, before, well, people know him. They didn't know him as a producer the way we knew him as a producer. They knew him more of an engineer. He was an
Right.
ill engineer. His ear was incredible because he was in a band prior to converting into hip hop. You know what I mean? And when the Clientele Brothers introduced me and Johnny Quest to him, Paul C had his equipment in his garage, and this is where we were making our first demos with Paul C. And then, he would call me and Quest over there, like, yo, come through. And we would go over there and knock these tapes out. And we wound up making a little group, you know what I mean? And we put him down
Hmm.
with us. He was the illest producer. I felt like I was the illest MC, and Johnny Quest felt like he was the illest DJ. And we were young, so it just clicked, and he started rocking with us. And then around the same time is when he got hired by 1212 Studios by Mickey. So that's when 1212 opened up, and he was an engineer in there. So what he would do is late nights, he would call us and be like, yo, I got some available studio time, come through. And it was only a Q5 bus ride away or dollar
Hmm.
van away. So you take the van to the last stop and the studio's right around the corner. Boom. We was there, you know what I mean? And Paul was an incredible dude, incredible producer, incredible engineer, just soft spoken and just so cool, man, And it's unfortunate what happened to him. But we did a record called I Get Rough, right? A lot of
Hmm.
people don't know that I Get Rough. The bass line is the bass line of Brick House from the Commodores, right?
Hmm.
And our version, Paul C didn't play the bass line or sample it. What he did was he took Rozelle, the godfather of noise, the human
Hmm.
beatbox of the roots. He took Rozelle's voice and like a boom or something, and he programmed it into the SP12 before the SP1200, and he played it, bro. But it was Rozelle's voice that was
Hmm.
playing. So Rozelle's voice is actually the bass line for I Get Rough. That's how creative Paul was, man. And we just finished our album when his untimely death, man. So that kind of set me back real bad, man. But Paul was a great, great producer and engineer.
Do you think when you talk about, when not you, but when people talk about hip hop producers, they kind of don't mention Paul C because his untimely death, and he did create some of the dopest records in hip hop history. So do you think that he kind of doesn't get his just due sometimes?
Well, I think he does. I think it's just the shift in the eras and all of that is what kind of left Paul out. Because when people talk about who their favorite producers are, their favorite producer's favorite producer, that's when Paul's name comes up. You feel me?
Okay.
So it's like when you say Large Professor is my favorite producer, people don't know Large Professor was mentored by Paul C. So
Hmm.
Paul C will say, well, my favorite producer It's Paul C. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what that is. So he's not forgotten. He's remembered, but just not by the masses. But the
Gotcha.
real producers of that era and that time, like the Marley Marls, the Large Pros, the Pete Rocks, those guys, they know who Paul C is. And that's what's the most important. You feel me? That's what's important. They remember,
That's what's up. So when did the LA Posse when did that form, and on what label were you guys signed under?
LA Posse was formed in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
We were originally Boom Bash because that's the name of the crew that me and Johnny Quest ran with in Laurelton, Queens. So it was Boom Bash, very popular. We weren't a gang or none of that. I was the voice, Johnny Quest was the DJ, and our crew was, I'm talking about 50 muscle-bound guys. These guys were on a health kick, and they were protectors of Laurelton. You know what I mean? And we Boom Bash. They were with me everywhere I went, And when Paul C got down with us, he was a part of that too. Now, when we signed, this was Arthur Armstrong, got us signed to a label in 86 called Public Records. Somebody named Walter, what's his name? Yeah, Walter Scalera owned a label called Public Records. And that's when we came out with a record called My Telephone. On the flip
Mm-hmm.
side was Bust a Rhyme Mike, and even Dawn. Dawn featured Rozelle. His first time beatboxing on wax was on our record. Dawn.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the reason we changed it to the LA Posse is because Arthur Armstrong didn't think Boom Bash was marketable, plus, we had a lot of things going, things in the street,
Mm-hmm.
Yo, they'll rock, they'll beat you up, boom, 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 whatever, whatever. Not knowing that, Quest and me, we're the talent. We're not the muscle. They're the muscle. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to keep the crew. So if you're from Jamaica, Queens, or that part of town, and you talk about Laurelton, people refer to Laurelton as LA for short,
Mm-hmm.
right? And remember, back then, Posse was your crew. It was the crew you was around. So Laurelton Posse, LA Posse, it was still Boom Bash. And it was more marketable. You know what I mean? And that's what that was. We were on Public Records for 1986 and 87. And then in 88, we signed to Sleeping Bag Records. And while we were on Sleeping Bag Records, that was 88, they entered me into the seminar because Tila Rock and Mantronics, they got me signed because of my street reputation as a battle MC. They got me signed, and they thought it was a good idea to enter me into the New Music Seminar. That's how that happened. And then as we were completing the album, that's when that happened to Paul C. And at the same time, the other LA Posse from Los Angeles had just come out with LL Cool J. So they were on Def Jam. And at that time, Def Jam had they just got under the umbrella of Columbia. So they had major money, major lawyers, this, that, and the other. We some cats from the street. We're not familiar with trademarking the name and all of that. So they wound up trademarking the name first, thinking that it made more sense because they were from Los Angeles. It made more sense. They were with a bigger machine. Sleeping Bag didn't have the money or the muscle to fight that lawsuit. So we lost the name, we lost Paul, and I just went into like a state of depression, man, where I had to get out of New York for a year or two.
So how was, because I always ask the artist this, how was your first record deal? Do you feel as though that it was fair?
Absolutely not. Now I know it wasn't fair. You know what I mean? Back then, I thought it was great. Oh, we got a contract. We're on records. You know what I mean? Oh, this is dope. And I really didn't care about it at the time. I didn't care about lawyers. I didn't care about this. I didn't care about the business aspect because I was doing it from here, not the pockets. So I didn't think about the possibilities of being a successful rapper, because those weren't my intentions. My intentions was to be the dopest MC in the hood. I wasn't thinking videos. I wasn't thinking TV. I wasn't thinking none of that, because I was outside for real. I was really outside. Now, to tell you something, here's the thing. LL Cool J and me, we were partners, right? When you see LL Cool J today, that's where he dreamt of being when we were partners. He was so disciplined and so determined to make it to this level where he is. That's why he's there, because this is what he wanted. He had those dreams. I didn't have those dreams. People always say, yo, why you not where he's at? Because that wasn't my dream. That was his dream. You feel me?
Right.
I was doing it because I love the culture, not the business aspect. He learned the business early. He went for it, and that's why he's there. But back to the contracts back then, man, they used to take 100% of your publishing, because we didn't know anything about publishing. They took 50% of the writer's royalties. I didn't know anything about that royalties. I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't hip to none of that. So, yeah, they got away with it, man. Whatever, lesson learned. Now it makes me a great independent artist.
No, that's what's up. Now, like, fast forward now, because it's 30 plus years later. Do you own your music now?
Got it back, because
Congratulations, brother.
The time is over with, man. As a matter of fact, I got the papers, like, Library of Congress. Arthur Armstrong is still alive. Signed all of our stuff over, even the stuff Paul C produced and all of that. I'm still here. It's in my name now. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so I'm good. And I learned from that not to give my stuff away. ISRC codes, UPC, all that. I'm not giving it to these streaming companies. I'm dealing, as you know, I instead of dealing with the streaming platforms first, I deal with the customer first and let them cop it from me 2 weeks prior to the album being streamed. Streams are a last alternative for me. I deal with real radio like you, and I deal with the customer direct. I don't deal with streaming first. That's the last stop on the train. I'm not going to say I exclude them, but that's not my go-to. And I own my ISRCs are very important for you, the artist, to own, because that's your record's fingerprints. You know what I mean? So it's important that they own their own ISRC codes.
Have you ever thought about reissuing some of the old tracks that you and re-putting them out? The old tracks that you did back in the day?
I actually, since you mentioned that, me and Shan are AI junkies. Me and emcee.
Yes. Now we're gonna talk about AI in a minute too. Yes.
We are AI junkies. And let me tell you something. Being 58 years old, Shan 60, and to still be knowledgeable of the technology and being able to maneuver at this age, I find it so amazing and so fun. So what I did with my older music is I ran it through a couple of those AI systems and tweaked the writing, you know what I mean? Because I don't want AI to do all of the work for me. If they can make it sound more modern, I'm good with that. If it doesn't have to be me rapping, I like the voices that it uses because it gives it a youthful feel, but it's still my work and I own it because I didn't let them produce the whole thing. So I actually have an album that's done. It's called Mikey D Reimagined. I Get Rough is one of them. Coming in the House is one of them. I didn't do my telephone, but I did a couple of my joints over, but it's reimagined, man, and it sounds so much better than it did.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my! I'm gonna sending you that too. I'm gonna send it to you. I actually, one of the joints that I did with AI, I actually did the video and everything AI for my mother. It's called Mom's Song.
Okay.
I did it originally in 2014, 14. Then I did a remix 3 years ago with Herb Middleton. And now I'm doing the remix of the original. And it's AI. And this is the best one to date. I'm sending that to you too. And I already registered it and got it up, ready to come out. It's coming out on January 20th, the day my mom passed away. And it's her birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. That is a great way to honor your mom, man. My next question is, you talked about the downtime in hip hop, with the passing of Paul C, and you having to change your name to LA Posse and everything. And you said that, it took you to a place that you really didn't want to go. So with that being said, was there ever a time, well, I guess that was the time, but did you think that, this is it? I'm not going to be rapping anymore. I'm not going to be an MC anymore. That's in the past. I got to be a normal person now. So like, how was that? And how long did that last for Mikey D?
All I had to do was just take a break. I never once thought about dropping my microphone.
Okay.
I needed a mental break because I was drinking excessively. We lost Paul. This was the ushering in of the gangster rap. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna talk about that
I didn't
too.
really want to. I could have easily jumped in that bag, but that just wasn't me. And the reason I never thought about giving up the microphone is because hip hop literally raised me. Hip hop raised me because my pops was on the other side of town. I was living with grandma and all of that. Hip hop is what built the person that I am, besides a good upbringing and a good choice of friends. But hip hop is where I found my voice. It's where I found my confidence. It taught me how to move through the streets. It helped me, to communicate with people. I never, ever once in my life thought about dropping that microphone. Until this day, I don't think about retiring ever.
No, that's what's up. So yeah, I did see a past interview with you, and that's why I started asking artists this, especially coming from that era, from the 80s, going into the 90s. Was it a hard transition for you because it was a new day and age of hip hop? The sound was changing, and I've heard Kane say that that he didn't realize that he was behind and he had to switch things up. So, excuse me. So for Mikey D, and I did hear this on a past interview that you did, that really affected you because it's like, that's not me. So how did you maneuver through that?
Well, what I did was me and my partner, TC, my boy Terry, my best friend, actually, that's my dude. We went to Florida. We was actually supposed to hook up with Philip Michael Thomas because he had at the time it was a $250,000 studio on a boat. And my man Mario, he was managing us at the time. He thought it would be a good idea because he had the house down there and everything. So we wound up moving down. We jumped in a Camaro. We drove in a Camaro with no AC in it, no radio, just 3 dudes, luggage, and a case of 40s. On our way to Miami, hitting Highway 90, I-95. And brother, when we got down there, it was cool. We wound up linking up with Luke Skywalker, and Marquise became one of our really good friends because he was a neighbor. We even lived with, God rest his soul, too, Eric Griffin. Eric Griffin was the dude. He used to produce for the True Live crew. They actually shot a bunch of those pool scenes with all of them girls in the backyard where we were staying, you know what I mean? So we got in with that crowd. And, we put together a little clique, me and him. I was Cordless Mike because I didn't want people in Florida to know I was Mikey D from New York because Florida, Miami they was into the bass music, the Miami bass. They didn't really like that raw hip hop, gritty sound that I had at the time. You know what I'm saying? So we was like, oh, we could do this easy. This is fun. You know what I mean? We could. All right, so we did No Strings Attached. And what wound up happening is our lawyer at the time, Jonathan Black, he was our lawyer. We were supposed to sign with Luke Skywalker. but he read the contracts or whatever and heard the music and wanted to start a label. So he started a label called Magnum Records and put us out himself. You know what I mean? So that was cool. And I stayed down there for a couple of years, man. I was traveling back and forth because my daughter was just born in 1989. So Paul, my daughter, everything was just going on. I had to get some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I went down there. But the reason I came back, Hurricane Andrew came through and blew the house down.
Got you.
Hurricane Andrew, boy, I never went back to Florida since. I just went back a few months ago just to visit, but sheesh. But when I came back to New York, everything was different on the hip hop scene, but I was still in my bag. And that's when I knew that it was okay to be myself because the rhymes that I was writing was timeless. I wasn't trying to sound like nobody. I was always me. I was always original, and I could rhyme off of anything. They could play any beat and I could rhyme off of it. So that's when I was like, yo, it's cool. I could just be myself and I could still, because I could talk gangster, but I never had to be gangster. I could talk it, but I had crew with me they were really doing it. I never had to do it. That's another reason why I say I had a good upbringing, because even in the 80s, I was around Supreme Team. I was around Tommy Montana and all of these cats. But you know what? Those guys would not let me hustle. They wouldn't let me hustle because I had talent and they wanted to see me win that way. You feel me? That's why I always respected Tommy Montana, B, because he wouldn't let me down with the crew. These dudes knew I had something different and they wanted to see me win that way. You feel me? So it was a blessing, man. So then when I was back that was like 92, I think, is when Hurricane Andrew came through. So when I came back to New York, I was doing security because I always loved being a security guard because I used to look up to my grandfather. When he came home from the military, he did security work. He worked in the VA hospital as a security guard, worked in the bank as a security guard, and I always thought he was super sharp in his uniform, and I dug that, and I wanted to be just like my grandfather because he raised me. So I started doing security, and that's when while I was doing security, I was hanging with my man Mike Beasley. Mike Beasley has cousins, Bo Higgins or something like that, was married to Melba Moore. They had a production company called Hush Production. And he used to take me up there and we used to just chill at Hush Production. I met so many people. One day, somebody was tapping on the grand piano and I was freestyling. And here comes Jeff Red. He had that hot record out too. You called it. That brother was like, yo, this guy is pretty nice. Yo, Mike, what you doing with him? Talking because my boy's name was Mike Beasley, and you know.
Okay. So
he gave Mike Beasley a number and an address, and he said, I know a group, they need a rapper. I'm not going to tell you who they are. I just want y'all to go to call this number and meet these people. And that was the introduction to Main Source, Jeff Red.
Did not know that. So
and then the rest is history.
So, you know, because now, you know, back then, you know, being a hip hop head and being a true hip hop enthusiast, it was it was two groups that devastated me that broke up: Main Source and EPMD. Now,
my guys.
Yeah, it devastated me, man. But my question is, because now you led into you being a part of the Main Source. I don't know the backstory of that, and I know that you probably told it so many times, but I never heard it. But because was it a conflict when you found out it was the Main Source, and you said, "Wait a minute, Large Professor from Queens. Of course, you know him." So, you didn't know him.
I I didn't know what was going on with them. I
Okay.
wasn't even familiar with them because I'm not as ill as I am. I'm not tapped into everything. I remember the song "Looking at the Front Door" and all of that, and then it started to dawn on me. I remember Live at the Barbecue. Once I found out who they were, I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm thinking that I'm getting down with the crew as a whole, just to bring that Mikey D element to the posse. I did not know Large Professor left the group or none of that. I don't know what transpired before I got there. I didn't even care. This was another opportunity that I'm just going to have some fun with. Because, like I said, I wasn't that serious about the success as far as being this mega superstar. I never wanted that. But I did like the attention, and I did like to just be ill because I'm competitive and I just wanted to be heard. That's it. So with Main Source, with the Large Professor thing, I don't know what went down with them. And I never asked. And the reason I respect K Cut and Sir Scratch so much is because they never asked me to go at Large Professor, which they could have easily done. Not that I would have done it, but because I'm who I am and what I stand for as far as being that aggressive rapper, they could have been like, yo, this dude, blah, 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 and this is why, boom, 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 yo, let's go at him. And then, you know what I mean? But they never asked me to, and I never would have anyway. So that's how that went down. And then we broke up, you know, but
Right.
I wound up leaving.
So how did your peers feel about that? Because Breaking Atoms was that's a classic album right there, Main Source, whatever. So how did your peers feel about that? You being a part of that, and like, did Large Professor feel some type of way at that point? When you became a part of the group.
Large Professor, I got several interviews when he was happy. Like he was like they couldn't have picked a better dude because it was Large Professor. We wound up becoming super cool because see, Large Professor, although he's a lot younger than me, we never hung out like that. But Large Professor was in some of our sessions when we were in the studio with Paul because he was learning.
Oh,
he was learning.
That is right. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah. So he knew who I was already. You know what I mean? And even the Main Source, when they watched Roger do his thing and all of that, they was doing that in 1212. You feel me? With Paul C as the engineer. That's my guy. He was
didn't know that.
Group. So it's full circle. That's what it was dope about it when we started. When I'm realizing who I'm with, I'm like, oh, and my peers was like, oh, you with Main Source? That's dope. But the one thing that I never tried to do is I never tried to fill Large Professor's shoes because I knew I couldn't do that. I'm not the rapper that's out to make hit records. I'm out there to just get busy. So I never tried to fill his shoes. I just wanted to bring the Mikey D element to the Main Source. And if you listen to the first single, What You Need Is the Source, I said, here comes Mikey D with the Main Source back on course. Here comes Mikey D with the Main Source. You feel me? I'm still Mikey D, but I'm rocking with these dudes right now. I never tried to fill his shoes. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie, Mikey D. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I was honest with Master Killer when I interviewed him. When I first heard Protect Your Neck, I didn't like the record. I said because it was too many MCs on one record and it was confusing. But then after a while, shout out to my man G the promoter out there, WPRB 103.3 FM, the Raw Deal. He was the first one to play that record. And he replayed it and he replayed it. And then when I saw the video, I was like, yo, this is that group. Now I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's all good.
The first single, because we already knew that the Main Source had already broke up, and then you came along. So before we even heard the first single, we were like, I was like,
User expectation.
yeah, I was like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna rock with the main source anymore. But when that single came out, brother, I went right to the record store and I was like, bro, I still have that record to this day, but it's warped though, so I can't play it. It's sitting right over there on in my bookshelf. I can't play it. I'm telling you, I played the hell out of that record. And I was like, yes. And, you know, that was my first introduction. Well, I already knew about Mikey D, but then I was like, oh, I started putting two because there was no internet. You know, I'm from South Jersey. So, you know, so the thing about that is New York got everything first, and then it trickled down to everybody else.
Right.
So, you know, I knew who Mikey D was, but it wasn't clicking two and two. It's like, oh, that's that Mikey D.
Right.
I thought it was somebody else. But then I said, wait a minute, this brother's nice. And you know what? The rest is history, bro. Because I'm telling you right now, when I heard that, and when I heard the horns come in on that track, oh, game over, bro.
He's a beast. And you see what else we did, right? You remember when they did Live at the Barbecue, they introduced Nas.
Yep.
You see on our album, we did Set It Off, and we introduced Jadakiss and Chic Luch.
Yep.
Matter of fact, we even had Ma Barker, who was Shot Queen back then.
Yep.
Ma Barker was on there. My brother Lot Picasso was MC Lotto.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we did some things. Unfortunately, man, things didn't work out with Wild Pitch, man. And, you know, things happen. And, hey, like I said, all learning experiences, man, stepping stones for where I'm going, you know, all stepping stones for where I'm going.
You know what I would have loved to see? The 50-year anniversary of hip hop. I would have loved to see Mikey D, Main Source, and Large Professor. Like all y'all like on stage. Like, did that ever happen?
It would never happen. It will never happen because I think Large Professor is so wounded by whatever transpired between them and that first album that I don't believe he would ever do it again. But
that's crazy.
I will. And as far as I'm concerned, and as far as K Cut is concerned, the doors are always open for Large Professor. They're always open. Now, people used to think that Large Professor was Main Source, but business-wise, K Cut owns that name, Main Source.
Did not know that.
They owned it before Large Professor joined the group. They owned it. That was their name. You know, they was going to put another rapper down before I think Joe Fatal brought Large Pro around. So they own that name. So that's on the business side. But right now, I'm claiming Main Source.
Oh, yeah.
Me and K Cut is like this. We actually going to work on an EP and just get it popping. And the doors are always open for Large Professor. Because like I said, I never tried to fill his shoes. But if we in a car and he jumps out the whip and the driver's seat is available, I'm going to drive the car. So that's where we stand. I have no grudges, no beef, or nothing against Large Professor. Never have, never will.
And that's love. And that's love because you know why? Because in past interviews, he never said anything bad. You know, the one thing that, you know, it kind of caught me off guard is when he was on A Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, and he had that verse. He said, "F those two DJs." I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa. But you know what? I was like, I still love the Main Source, but that song is hot as shit. I was like, that song is hot, man.
It's all good, you know. He got emotional. He was feeling a certain way. That's why it's understandable. You know what I mean? Whatever transpired really, really bothered him, man. And
absolutely.
I have to stay neutral. I have to be the big brother. Like, these are my little brothers, and if I could get them together to be cool, I'd rather do that. But if one is beefing with the other, I'm staying out the way. But I'm not going to cut one off because the other one's mad at the other one. I love both of them, or I mean, all three of them equally. So whatever they got going on, I'm out the way on that. But I am main source.
Word. So you left the main source, and then you pursued another solo career, and you put out a solo album. So like, how did all that fare off for you, and what label were you under with that?
Man, I don't even remember. I probably actually I was with, I put out this project. I did something with Guru. We was with, I had a group called, I put a group together called Ambush.
Okay.
Me, Kurt Digger, this female, Sean Don and La Picasso. So we did that for a while. And Guru, he got down with the, some features. We did a feature on his joint. He did a feature on our joint. No Match. If you look on YouTube or whatever, just type in Ambush, No Match. And that features Guru on it. That was my man. Okay. After that, when I started doing more solo stuff and I put a solo project out, it might have been Better Late Than Never when we finally put out the Paul C stuff that should have come out in '89. I think we did it in 2005. I was with Redline Music, my man Jameson Grillo. And then we did I did another album under the name Elements of Hip Hop with DJ Mercury and DJ Grand Wizard Rasheen, who was Jazzy Jeff and Cash Money's mentor. He was down with my group, Elements of Hip Hop. And
out of Philly.
That's when we were in between Redline, and I was switching over to Who Mag with Rob. And then after the Calm Before the Storm, I did Day of Destruction. Day of Destruction came out on Redline as well, on CDs. Then once I started stepping into the streaming world, I got with Who Mag because Rob Schwartz put me on with him, and he said, "Listen, man," he said, "Do you still want to be an artist, or do you want to be a owner?" I said, "Why can't I be both?" You know what I mean? Why can't I be both? So what he did was he set up my own label under his Who Mag, you know what I mean? I passed the torch together, distribution, and he allowed me to release all of my own stuff under his umbrella. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm the owner and the artist, you know what I mean? And I've been with Rob Schwartz ever since, man. Great guy. And you know what I mean? He kept it 1,000 with me. Anytime I need help with business, he's there. Rob is just a great dude, man. So that's how that went.
Look, shout out to Rob Schwartz, man, because we've been friends for over 15 years now. And when I was at WPRB, he came up to the radio station. He was talking about Who Mag magazine, and he was promoting it, and I was fully behind that. And ever since then, we were like good friends. And I just seen him grow in this industry so much and helping other artists that really deserve it. He took on the Force MDs. I mean, Mikey D, Dinko D. I mean, the list goes on and on. And it's like the Rob, he's a businessman. See, you know what the crazy thing about Rob is? He's a businessman and he's a fan. And I can't tell if he's a fan first or a businessman, but he still keeps it equal. And that's what I love about Rob. He gives people shots. He gives people opportunities. And that's why I'm on 105.1 The Beat. That's his station right now. And that's why he gave me the opportunity. So, big shout out to Rob, man. But
and you forgot.
Go ahead.
You forgot one thing about Rob.
What's that?
He's also a good friend, man.
Oh, solid.
He's solid. He's also a good friend, man. Word up.
He's solid. He's
Shout
solid.
out to Rob Sports.
He's gonna look out for you, man. And with that being said, we have the new album out.
Whoop!
Now, why is it named Poppin' Kim Legends Don't Die? Because I was like, why? I said, because you emailed it to me. I was like, nah, I don't think this is it. Then I looked, I said, oh, so okay, yeah, it is it. So what is the reason behind that title of the project?
Poppin' Kim was a staple in Laurelton, Queens, where I grew up.
Okay.
On Merrick Boulevard, 229th Street. Poppin' Kim was owned by the sweetest Asian lady, Kim. And her husband was Pop. This is where everybody from Laurelton that was cool. Back then drinking beer was fun because we wasn't getting violent and we wasn't throwing bottles and piling out and all that. She had the ice cold 40s for $1.35. And then they went up to $1.50. It's on Merrick Boulevard. I used to stand in front of that store. We used to drink, congregate, and rhyme. This is where I got my reputation from in Laurelton. Run DMC used to come through there and buy 40s. You used to see all of it. I'm talking about at nighttime in the summer at Poppin' Kim's, you would think you was in Harlem up there with Paid in Full. You know what I'm saying? Because all of the celebrities was coming to this store to buy their 40s. Yo, she had inside the window that was in front of the cash register was full of pictures, man. All types of pictures. When I won the belt, my belt was hanging up in that store. Anytime I was on tour and I came back with pictures, the pictures were there. I'm talking about, remember the sneaker Dada Supreme?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's my man, Uncle Huey and them, Dave Huey and all of them. They all from Laurelton. You know what I'm saying? So all of these guys, we were all in front of that store. That store was a landmark. I'm talking about, I'll send you this interview with Psycho Les and DJ Muggs from Cali. When he came out here, they visited Poppin' Kim's and they talk about the coldest 40s. So I had to use that name because that's what I represent. That's the era in the 80s. So the sound on the album is that Mikey D from Poppin' Kim. They call me a legend. I'm still here. I'm not going nowhere. Legends don't die. My grandfather always said, old soldiers don't die. They just fade away. Same as legends. Legends don't die. We just fade away. So I had to put those two together. Poppin' Kim. Legends don't die, man. And that's the meaning of it. It's the 80s. It's a nostalgic vibe. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound old school, but it gives you that feeling. It gives you that feeling.
Thank you.
It was there.
Yes.
Put it this, my brother LL Cool J is the GOAT, right? He came up with GOAT, greatest of all time. You know what I am? I'm a lion. Not that lions eat goats, but I'm a lion because I'm a legendary innovator of nostalgia. That's a lion. You feel me? And that's age appropriate. A lot of my boys is lions. Like Kane is a lion. You know, KRS-One is a lion. We're of that age where we don't have to sound young anymore. We don't have to sound like what's popping. We could do our own thing, and it's all right to be ourselves, man. So that's Poppin' Kim. That's what that's all about, man. That nostalgia. I had to get that off my chest. Like that.
I love the album, man.
Thank you, bro. That's one of those albums I had to just get it off. Like I had, this energy that was left, but I had to release it. So now I can move forward and try some other things. But I wanted this Poppin' Kim album to come out so bad.
That's what's up. Now,
and guess what? My bad.
Go ahead.
You know who sparked this whole movement? Dr. Butcher. Dr. Butcher sent me a track after we reconnected after years. He sent me a track, and it's on the album, Over 50. Over 50 with Rob Swift cutting it up.
Yes.
You got Dr. Butcher. He produced the track. Herb Middleton spiced it up a little bit. That one track is what sparked the whole Pop and Kim energy. So shout out to Dr. Butcher.
So, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was going to talk about that. How does that make you feel? Your peers from back then are coming out with new albums now, and they sound, because everybody says, oh, they want the old sound back, but it's not the old sound. It's like it's grown man rap, and it's like they're from Nas to Big Daddy Kane. I think Kane is about to come out with another project.
He's about to drop. Yeah, I spoke to Kane.
Rakim, KRS-One always puts out albums. Salt from Salt and Pepper. She has a new project that's coming out with a new single out right now. So how does that make you feel? Of course, Moni Love. Yeah, because that's where I met you at. So like, how does that make you feel as one of the leaders of that era, still making music? How does that make you feel that at one point, because at one point, I would say maybe like 10, 12 years ago, this would have never happened, because of the fact is everything was like, if it's not new, we ain't doing it. We're not doing it.
We ain't doing it.
If you're not sounding like that, if you're not sounding like this,
then we don't want it.
Right. So like, how does that make you feel now? Because you guys have recreated a whole new lane, and it's taken off, and you guys are actually generating more money now. Not saying that you generate more money now that you did back then, but you're actually making money now. And now what people are doing now, they're listening to the new stuff. Now they got to go back and listen to the old stuff too. So how does that make you feel?
I feel great. I feel great. It's a good thing, because the only person that was doing the type of music that's coming out now at the time, and I always wanted to tap into this lane that's opened up now, was Heavy D. Heavy D was making mature music. You know what I'm saying? For the longest, he never tried to cross over into the younger lane. Same with me. I never tried to cross over into the younger lane. I'm an advocate for telling people it's okay to be yourself. And for it to be going down like this is just super dope, because I always said that for the kids that love, not the kids, the younger generation that loves the younger generation, they have parents that love our generation. So why aren't we making music for their parents? We don't have to be adults making music for the kids. Let the kids have their fun. We had our time with that already.
Yep.
We were all kids. We grew up now. Let's make some adult music for the adults. You don't have to worry about watching your back at our parties and at our events. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe, and it's just dope. And we have so much more to talk about now, because we've lived it. We've lived it. You know what I'm saying? The journey. And most of us lived it through hip hop. So we got so much to talk about that the adults can really relate to. And I'm glad that it's opening up. I'm glad LL is doing what he's doing over there at Rock the Bells. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I'm glad Sirius XM is out and all of that. I'm just happy. It's a good time to be hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely
Very
is.
good time.
Absolutely is. Now, I really didn't want to, because like we're about to wrap up now, but I know I had to ask this question because a lot of people want to know, where do you and MC Search stand right now? Like how do you guys stand right now? Because look, I like both of you, but I know as Search, he ain't gonna respond, because you're Mikey D.
Right. But you know what? Either way it would have went, I would have respected. I respect it. He didn't respond. I respect that. If he would have responded, I would have respected that too. It would have been fun. The only reason I did what I did is because if I would have harbored it, it would have hurt me more than it hurt anybody else, man. Because first of all, I suffer from anxiety disorder. So I would have thought about it and overthought it, and it would have drove me nuts. I had to get it off my chest. There wasn't beef to whereas I wanted to see any harm brought his way. If I see him in the streets, it wasn't like, yo, it was none of that. This is hip hop. An MC calls you whack, you respond. He called me whack. He exaggerated some stories. Okay, fine. I gave him an opportunity to clean it up. He totally ignored me. That's fine. Now I got it off my chest. Even after I did what I did, I sent him a text like, you know, I know you're probably not going to respond, but I just want you to know that there's no beef. There's no animosity. I don't want him to feel threatened or that like he has to look over his shoulders. I don't want that. I still love Search as a human being. I love Third Base, everything that they've done for the culture. Pete Nice is one of my men, one of my boys. DJ Eclipse, these are my boys. It's just someone had to say something. Because, you know, I've heard so many stories about Search doing this and saying that and this, that, and the other. And I always overlooked it until I was in that position, that I was in the line of fire. Then I was like, oh, what? So like, you know, there's no beef, there's no animosity. If Search is seeing this, bro, it's all love. You know what I mean? I just had to do what I had to do as an MC. And that's that. That's water under the bridge.
That's what's up. That is a grown man statement, you know, coming from a grown man, and you know, we all grown up now. And like you said, we can't excuse me, we can't harbor things because of the fact is, you know, that stagnates us for what we want to do in the next in the near future, in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, next couple of years, because that can actually block us from what we really want to do. And this Poppy Kim, not even just that. You have an album release party, because we're gonna post this way before the album release party. It's gonna be in Atlantic City, ACX1 Studios. Yes. I'm gonna be in the building. I'm gonna personally, because the last time I saw you was at Moni Love's listening party. I stood right next to him. I was like, that's Mikey D. Me and my brother were there. Shout out to my brother Eric out there. And I was like, yo, that's Mikey D, main source. And he said, you're gonna speak to him? I was like, nah, man.
Man, listen.
No, because it was so many people around you, bro. So I was just like, I'm gonna respect this guy, and I'm gonna catch him on the back end.
Bro, I pulled up by myself, man.
I know.
I came along.
I know.
Yo,
I saw you when you walked in. I was at the back.
People don't know I'm as old as I am. You know why? Because you are a reflection of how you treat people. So I love everybody, man. My energy, you can feel my vibe. Like,
yep.
I love everybody, B. So you could have came up like, yo, it would have been like we knew each other for years, man. That's just me, B.
And it was crazy because
we're gonna catch up.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Because after you know, everybody was, you know, talking and, you know, shaking hands and everything, it just seemed like it was like a magnet. Everybody went towards you. And I said, yo, that is so super dope, man. And my brother was like, you can go up there and speak to him. I'm like, nah. I said, nah. I said, you know,
it's all love.
I said, no, I respect them because, you know, one person came up, then another person came up, then another person came up. I was just like, yeah, I want him to breathe a little bit. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell Rob to connect us, and that's what Rob did, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah,
the rest is history.
Absolutely.
So how can people support this album? Where can they get this at? Is it on any of the streaming websites, or is it on your website? Yeah, speak about your website too, because your website is out now, and like you said, you're cutting the middleman out, and you're going straight to consumer. So talk about your website.
Yeah, well, that's what I did for the first 2 weeks. I let the consumer get it directly from me, which they can still get it directly from me. It's at payhip.com/Mikey D Enterprise. And they could cop singles, they can cop the album from there, they could cop. I did 2 children's books, 1 adult book. Everything is on that site. But right now, the album is streaming everywhere. All of the streaming platforms, we up and running. We are now just waiting for the vinyl. The vinyls are coming in. I spoke to Eclipse today. The contracts is done with my guys in Finland, and Fat Beats will be distributing the vinyl. So
congratulations on
things
that.
are looking up, man. And yeah, this is gonna be a good run, man. I can't wait. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you, bro, because it's long overdue. You're getting your just due. You got your just due back then, but you're really getting your just due now. And like you said, you're gaining more fans, because some people might not know who Mikey D is, and they hear the new music or they hear their parents talking about it. Because I see a shift in hip hop right now. It's starting to get back to lyrics. It's starting to get back to like meaningful stuff. And like you guys are at the forefront of that. And you know, now the younger listeners, they're like, yo, this dude is nice. Yeah, so we gotta go back and listen to the old stuff.
You know what's crazy? Now, at this age and at this moment, I can really appreciate what's going on. Because when I was younger, I was a loose cannon. You know, I was doing a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, and now I've been sober going on 14 years, clear-headed. I understand the business. I know how to treat people, and I can enjoy it more now. I feel more grateful and humbled now than I did back then. So God spared me for a reason. Like, listen, you ain't ready yet back then, but I'm going to preserve you for later on. And here I am.
That's what's up. My last question is, what advice would you give any artist trying to get into hip hop, or any older artist that's trying to get back into hip hop? Like, what advice would you give them right now?
Don't be discouraged. Do not be discouraged. If you feel it, that's your soul talking to you, man. By all means, go for it. Do not be afraid to be yourself. Don't try to follow a wave or ride a wave. You got to be the ocean and create the wave, man. And invest in yourself. Stop being so stingy, asking people for favors and doing all of that. Invest in yourself. Nowadays, you have all of the information at the palm of your hands. You can't afford a lawyer? Get a ChatGPT subscription. ChatGPT can tell you everything you want to know about anything. You know what I mean? And just have fun with it. Just have fun with it and be yourself. That's it, man. That's it.
That's what's up. How can people get in contact with you? Give out all your social media handles, man, so people can, you know, like follow you on Instagram or on Facebook or just anywhere on social media. So like, give out all that information.
I'm Mikey Destruction on everything. Mikey Destruction on Instagram. Mikey Destruction on TikTok. What's the other one? X. I really don't do X because they crazy over there.
Yeah, I don't do X.
I got to take a mental break.
Yeah. X. Look. Let me tell you something about X, man. X. If you scroll through X, they're really on some dumb shit on over on that.
Yeah,
channel.
I can't.
I'm telling you, bro.
I can't
because you know why? Because it's no boundaries, it's no limits. You can say or do whatever you want over there. Crazy.
Nah, I'm not good. I'm not a chatty patty. I'm not into gossiping about other people and all of that. I'm not into religion. I'm not into politics. I'm an independent. I know what I see. I think for myself. I don't have to follow a bunch of people because I feel like the Democrats and the Republicans are two heads on the same snake. I don't want no parts of it. I love my Democratic brothers and sisters, but the people that are higher up, I just don't trust them. I stay away from that. that's that. But yo, they can catch me on YouTube as well, Mikey Destruction on there, and my government name on Facebook. Michael Deering. Yep, Michael Deering. So other than that, man, that's what it is.
Hey, look, I want to thank you for coming on, man, because I've been a fan of your excuse me. I still got this cough. I've been a fan. Right, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But I've been a fan of your music, since the 80s, LA Posse, the mixtape circuit, stuff that I didn't even know that you were involved in. It's like you were involved in, and the people that you were involved with and were connected with didn't even know that. It's almost like 6 degrees of Mikey D. It's like you name one person, then it links right back to you. And just coming from Queens, because I always did say this. Queens is legendary when it comes to MCs, and and you are one of the legends that are still here with us, and that are still making great quality music. People like Ed Lover has nothing but high praise for you. Rob Schwartz, Moni Love, she gave a great story of you, her, and Will Smith. You running out the belt,
No. That was me chasing Melly Mel running with the belt at the seminar.
Oh, okay. I thought you had the belt.
No, he had the belt. He ran out with the belt. That's what I was telling you. Him and Kaz grabbed it while I was running.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then unfortunately, the untimely death of Paul C. And that and some things got scrapped, and the record labels and everything weren't going up to speed what you wanted to do. Then you got you were still active. You went down to Miami. You did records down there. You put people on. You helped not just yourself, but you helped other people out. You got with the legendary group Main Source, major comeback, and now you did one or two like solo projects in between, and now we're up to this project right now in 2026. And to be honest, it doesn't sound outdated.
Thank you.
It sounds like it's a breath of fresh air. It's something that we can rock with, and I see nothing but great things coming out of this album. And I cannot wait next Saturday just to come up to you and shake your hand, brother, because I'm like, thank you.
Man, we're going to kick it next Saturday, man. Forget that shaking of a hand, man. I'm be like, we're going to have some fun, man. We're going to turn up, have a good time.
Hey, look, man, I really want to thank you for coming on, man. And like I said, I'm on 105.1 The Beat, and your music, not just your song, but your music is going to be in rotation on my show. And I know that you're going to be in rotation on the radio show, on the actual station itself. So, congratulations to you, brother, on all your success.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Much love, man. Definitely appreciate you.
And look, that is going to do it for me, man. My man, Mikey D, man, Side B TV, another one in the books, man. Please go back and hit that like and subscribe button. I will talk to you guys next week. Talk to you later, bro.
Later, my guys. Salute.